Hello again, my name is Kurt Knox, and this is a video about Chapter 3, Section 2. In the book, you should have already read pages 88 through 95. This talks about looking inside a cell. Now here, you guys see a typical plant cell. This plant cell has a lot of different parts to it. Just like our body has a heart, it's got a brain, it's got some eyes, and these parts of our body do certain things. Same with this cell. This cell has certain parts to it. For example, the mitochondria, the vacuole, the chloroplast, and these parts do various things. Today, we're going to be learning about these parts and what they do. So, like I said, this is a plant cell, a typical plant cell. A plant cell has a cell wall, and you see it here in tan or in brown. What this cell wall does is it keeps a plant stiff and rigid. Allows plants to grow up nice and tall and be pretty skinny. The cell wall protects the cell, and it allows it allows the plant to grow nice and tall. Plants also have a cell membrane, and this cell membrane you see right there, this is like a barrier or a gate. It only allows certain things into the cell. It blocks the bad stuff from coming into the cell. So only good stuff like food and water are allowed into the cell through this cell membrane. And you see the cell membrane right here. Now a lot of students forget plant cells have both a cell wall and a cell membrane. Plant cells have both. This next picture you'll see is an animal cell. And one of the obvious things that you see if we go back, this animal cell does not have a cell wall. And because it does not have a cell wall, these animal cells tend to be rounder and more squishy. But if you look carefully, this plant cell does have a cell membrane. So both plant and animal cells have cell membranes. And again, the cell membrane does the same thing. It only allows certain things into the cell. Good stuff like oxygen and food. Now, the last thing I'm going to be talking about is the cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is in both plant cells, and you'll see it right here, all of this stuff inside, and you see it in animal cells. What fills the cell is a jelly-like substance called cytoplasm. Cytoplasm, if you can imagine like clear jelly, that's what cytoplasm is. It allows these organelles to float around and allows oxygen and other food to pass through. So those are the parts of the cell that I am going to talk about.
Okay, this is a nucleus, and nucleus is like the boss of the cell. It tells all the other organelles what to do, how the cell should function, and so forth. And you could recognize a nucleus because it's usually located in the center of the cell and it's very large. The nucleus is protected on the outside by the nuclear envelope or nuclear membrane, and it has little tiny pores so things could go in and out. Inside the center of the nucleus is a nucleolus, and that is where ribosomes, those little dots, are made. Chromatin is the genetic material or DNA or the chromosomes, and that's where they are located. Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. This is where energy is produced. And one of my students said that it looks like a slipper, but it's actually, they just cut part of it off so you can see the inside. But it's actually shaped like a bean or a rod. And depending on the type of cell it is, if it needs a lot of energy, like your muscle cells, then it'll have a lot more mitochondria than other cells that don't require a lot of energy. We have the endoplasmic reticulum, or the ER, usually located next to the nucleus, because after the protein, or after the ribosomes are produced inside the nucleolus, they move along these ER, or endoplasmic reticulum, these little passageways, so that they can move to other parts of the cell. Now, if the endoplasmic reticulum has the ribosomes stuck to them, like this one, we call that rough ER, or rough endoplasmic reticulum. And then the ones that don't have them stuck to them are called smooth endoplasmic reticulum. They transport things. The ribosomes are the little tiny dots that you see inside the cell, and some of them are stuck on the ER and some are just floating freely inside the cytoplasm. And what they do is they make protein for the cell. Golgi body. Golgi body is a packaging center. When things are moved along the ER to the Golgi body, they will make little packages, little vesicles, and they will send it either out of the cell or to other parts of the cell. So you can think of them as transportation or packaging centers.
All right, so the next part I'm going to talk about is the chloroplasts. They are only found in the cell plants, and what they do is they convert sunlight energy into food for the plant cell. Now, it's very important. They don't actually make energy. They just convert the energy from sunlight into food. And the next one is vacuole, and this one is also found only in the plant cell. What it is basically is a large structure that contains food and water for the plants. And what's interesting about it is that this is why plants need this, because they don't know when it's going to rain, or maybe they're next time they're going to get water. So their vacuoles are very large so that they can go through droughts. The last part, lysosomes, are the parts of the cells that break down and clean up everything in the cell. So you can think of this as the janitor for the cell. They clean up, they also break down old parts of the cell and recycle it so that the cell can use it again.
Yeah, as Mr. Sang said, the vacuoles in plants are large. Vacuoles in animals are small because the animals can obviously walk to get water whenever they're thirsty. The plants have to wait, as Mr. Sang said. Now, the last thing we're going to talk